Hello, people, and welcome to my Premier League predictions for the 2025-26 Premier League season. Shall we just get straight into it? Okay. We'll be going from 20th to first place. And I've only shared a few hints of my predictions, and obviously things have changed since I've shared some of these hints. But never have I ever revealed it to the entire world. Not everyone's going to see me. Anyways, 20th place, I've got Burnley. Burnley, I'm not going to lie, I've made actually a few decent signings, including Armando Broja from Chelsea, Dubravka from Newcastle as a replacement for James Trafford, who went back to Manchester City, and of course Kyle Walker from Manchester City. Oh, and they also signed Axel Tuanzebe from Ipswich Town. In terms of players going out, well, there are two big ones really. James Trafford and Josh Brownhill. Trafford being Burnley's #1 goalkeeper, it's probably going to be a bit of a loss for them. And Josh Brownhill has been at Burnley for years. I feel that Burnley are not really at the standards they were when they were under Sean Dyche in the Premier League. And so for that reason, I'm going to put them bottom of the table. 19th place, I've got Sunderland. I know, devastating. Sunderland are, well, like everyone else, like the other newly promoted sides, are also investing quite heavily. Looking at their signings, they have signed, they've signed a Guiu from Chelsea, but of course the main one, Granit Xhaka from Bayer Leverkusen, who of course has very recently has had an invincible Bundesliga season under at Leverkusen, yeah. And of course was captain at Arsenal. And of course, in terms of players going out, of course they let go of Tom Watson, who by the way scored that late winner against Sheffield United in the playoff final back in May. And they have also let go of Jobe Bellingham, the younger brother of Jude Bellingham. He went to Borussia Dortmund just before the Club World Cup in the United States. But I think the firepower in the Premier League is quite strong. Sunderland, they'll struggle to compete, to be fair. I'm not going to lie, they definitely have I think they could actually challenge for Premier League status for the following season, but I don't think they'll make it. So Sunderland, 19th place. In 18th place, I'm putting Leeds United. I've said it. All the newly promoted sides, for a third successive season, I think will face relegation, which is kind of sad for the Premier League, of course, because obviously English football is known for its priority on promotion and relegation, and now the Premier League is sort of becoming like a closed shop, really, a bit like the European Super League. Now, I'm probably being over dramatic here, but it kind of does feel that way, as you know, you pretty much have to spend pretty much beyond your means in order to compete. Looking at Leeds United, they did sign Lucas Perry from Lyon. Some of you may know him from that Lyon save that we do. They also signed Sean Longstaff from Newcastle United. They also signed this person called Goodmanson from Lille. I don't really know too much about him, to be fair. But yeah, in terms of players going out, nothing too major I can see, but yeah, Firpo's gone. I think he was main number 9 for Leeds United. But I think Leeds United will have. I think unlike last season, there will be more of a survival fight, because if there was a survival fight last season, it would be hilarious to United and Tottenham trying to survive in the Premier League. But I think it'll be more of a survival fight this time round, but Leeds United, I don't think will make it. I think they will finish in 18th place. In 17th place, I have put Wolves. Now, Wolves, I think, will narrowly survive, to be fair, look at their signings. They signed Strand Larsen from Celta Vigo, Arias from Fluminense, and Wolf from AZ Alkmaar. Of course, when it comes to outgoings, they have lost a few big guns this summer, including Mateus Cunha and Ain't Yuri as well, who went to Man City. losing them both to Manchester clubs. Wolves, they did all right. There was a time where they did all right last season. And I think that was actually without Cunha. Yeah, it was between the 15th of March and the 26th of April, where they won 6 straight games against Southampton, West Ham, Ipswich, Tottenham, Man United, and Leicester. All of them, by the way, were in the bottom 5. Actually, wait, there were 6 games. So, with the exception of West Ham, all of them were in the bottom 5. In fact, all of them were in the bottom 6, I think, because West Ham finished, I think it was 14th. Anyways, but Wolves had a 16th place finish last year, sandwiched between United and Tottenham. And I think this year they'll struggle a bit more because, they have lost, again, some firepower, But I think they'll do just enough to survive. I think they will finish 17th. Next up, 16th place. Brentford. Well, yeah. They've lost quite a few people. Of course, they could lose Wisa. They could lose Wisa from, who could go to Newcastle this summer. They have already lost Mbeumo. They have lost their captain Norgard. They've lost their number 1 goalkeeper Flecken. And they've even lost their manager Thomas Frank. They do have Andrews at the helm now. A random Irish set-piece coach who was at the club. It'll be interesting to see how he does. But yeah, they did bring in some players, of course, including Jordan Henderson, who for free, and they also brought in a backup Liverpool goalkeeper. Of course, we know him, Kelleher. But yeah, they spent 17 million on Kayode from Fiorentina, and they spent 15 million on Milambo from Feyenoord. I don't know how these two did last season, But overall, I don't think it's going to be that good of a season. I mean, Kelleher's injured, by the way, early on. Well, okay, he's, I think, so expected return, doubtful, is just saying on FotMob. But I think Brentford will struggle a bit this season. And they could be pulled into a relegation battle. They'll do enough to survive, and I'm putting them 16th. But it's going to be one long season for them, and probably the worst they have had, and probably the worst season they've had since their return to the Premier League. In 15th, I've put West Ham. They don't, well, yeah. I put West Ham in 15th, if we just, again, have a quick look at their transfers. They did bring in Callum Wilson, and, yeah, looking at their outgoings, they lost Kudus to Tottenham. They've lost Vladimir Korfal and Fabianski as well. Danny Ings is gone. Cresswell's gone. Zuma's gone. Not that he did much. But yeah. I don't think West Ham have it in them, though, to actually go on to do anything, really. It was a 14th place last season, and I'm putting them 15th. So, going down by 1 position. I don't think they'll be dragged into a relegation battle as such. But I think there will be times in the season where it will get a bit weary. But so let's see what Graham Potter can do. Because, Graham Potter has had a good time in management. His reputation was ruined when he went to Chelsea. And obviously was a big part of the 22-23 season, where Chelsea finished 12th, you may remember. But I'm putting West Ham 15th. I don't think they've really invested too much, to be fair. 14th place, Fulham. Fulham, I think they're... let's just have a look at Fulham real quick. I put Fulham in 14th. And looking at their transfers, they have... Well, they've only really brought in Lecomte from Montpellier, who's a goalkeeper, by the way, for a fee of, £415,000. That's literally, what seems to be their only signing of the summer so far. So it doesn't seem all that different, the squad. I think they'll finish 14th. I'll probably maybe even put them 15th, thinking about it. But yeah, Fulham, 14th place finish. In 13th place, I am saying Crystal Palace will finish there, pretty much. Now, of course, on the 11th of August, CAS made the final decision which would officially demote Crystal Palace into the Conference League despite qualifying for the Europa League via the FA Cup, which they won last season. In terms of transfers, well, there is worries of Eze and Gehi leaving. Gehi is on his final year on his contract, and I think currently Liverpool are in talks with Crystal Palace at the moment. As for Eze, he could leave as well this summer. According to some rumours, I think Tottenham and Arsenal are interested in the Palace player. Crystal Palace are going into this new season on the back of a win against Liverpool in the Community Shield after winning it on penalties. Dean Henderson being, well, probably the ultimate hero of that day. Crystal Palace are about to embark on their first ever European journey, well, in their history. And I think juggling between the Premier League and Europe is not really easy, especially if you're a team who doesn't really have the financial means to gain squad depth as much as some other big clubs who are also qualifying for Europe. And of course, they're participating in it for the first time. I'd also like to give a reminder that Crystal Palace are officially now more successful than Brighton. Brighton, I think, have only ever won one trophy. Palace have now got two. So congrats to them. But not expecting much different from Palace this season. I think they will have a 13th place finish. So basically what you'd expect from Crystal Palace. In 12th place, I am putting Everton. Now, David Moyes is back at Everton. He returned there back in January, and it will be his first full season, his second spell at Everton. And just looking at the players coming in, Jack Grealish, who was confirmed on Tuesday before the season starts. He's in at City on a season-long loan. They signed Dewsbury Hall for 24 million. They got Asnu from Bayern. Trevor's a backup goalkeeper at Bournemouth. And Carlos Alcaraz, who they had on loan for the second half of last season, who still has quite a bit to prove in the Premier League. Looking at outgoings, Decore has gone, Holgate's gone, Young has gone, all for free. Now, of course, Everton are playing at their new stadium this season, at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and their opening game at that stadium will be against Brighton on the 24th of August. So it'll be interesting to see how Everton cope there, because of course it'll feel new and not quite like at home yet. So they'll have to make themselves at home first, and let's see what this club can do at this stadium. But I think it will be a 12th place finish, which will be the highest finish that they've had since Ancelotti's Everton in 2021. In 11th, I've got Nottingham Forest. Now, Nottingham Forest have qualified for Europe, and for the first time in a long time. They will be playing in the Europa League. They actually qualified for the Conference League, but because of a breach in the ownership rule of Palace had, which personally I think is a bit unfair, given they did actually sort it out, but unfortunately it was after the deadline of March the 1st, but Nottingham Forest will be playing in the Europa League, and I think juggling between Europe and the Premier League, it's not easy, and Forest have not had to do that in ages, but they had an impressive season last season. They finished 17th in 2024, in 2025 it was 7th, and for the majority of the season they were actually in the Champions League places, sitting in 3rd. At Christmas, people were thinking, will Forest challenge for the title? That was how, good they were last season. Looking at Nottingham Forest's incomings, they have signed Dan Ndoye from Bologna for 35 million, Acuna from Botafogo for 10 million, Igor Jesus also from Botafogo for 9.6 million pounds. So it seems like that Forest have gone into the window, obviously wanting to try and aim higher, of course. Although they have let go of Matt Turner, their number one goalkeeper last season, who has gone to Lyon. O'Brien has gone to Wrexham for free as well. And Danilo, along with other exchanges, has gone to Botafogo for 19 million. And they have let go of Anthony Elanga, who has gone to Newcastle for 37 million. And add-ons may be included in that. and Sosa has gone to Palmeiras. And they have also had to let go of Wayne Hennessy and Toffolo, who they have gone. Well, they're now up for grabs for free now. Chris Wood is probably expected to do some business again. He banged in quite a few goals last season. I had him in my FPL team over the majority of last season. So, high expectations from the New Zealand international. And, of course, quite strong at the back last season as well. Also, they beat Brighton at 1.7-0 last season. But I think they'll finish 11th. In 10th place, I have AFC Bournemouth. I feel this season will be interesting for Bournemouth. And I feel, to be fair, I should have probably put them lower than Everton, probably in 12th. But it's final now. Bournemouth have signed Petrovic for £24 million from Chelsea, although they have had a lot of outgoings. Neto, gone. Zabani, gone. Travers, who's their backup goalkeeper, he's gone though. Kirkez, gone. Howson, gone. And yeah, they've lost quite a few people. So yeah, they're going to need like a sort of a bit of a refresh back line, to be fair. And their opening game this season is against the champions, Liverpool. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Bournemouth, I feel. I put them in 10th, which is a top-half finish. Probably should have put them lower, though. Nonetheless, they did have a good season last season. The highest ever finish in the Premier League, a 9th place finish, known to be a curse in which you'll eventually get relegated. Just waiting for Brentford, Brighton on the matter now. Brentford may suffer from the curse, but anyways. Bournemouth, I think, will finish 10th, but I think ways are going forward for them. They do have a lot of money, of course, after the sales of Zabani and Howson, but I don't think they are quite fully equipped for the new season yet, so we'll have to see what the rest of their transfer activities are like. But Bournemouth, 10th place finish. In 9th place, I have put Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur, well, is going to be quite an interesting one. Obviously coming into the new season after winning the Europa League, somehow finishing 17th in the Premier League last season, and somehow still qualifying for Europe. Probably the worst ever Premier League side to win a European competition. But look at their signings. They've signed Paulinho on loan from Bayern Munich, and they've even signed Kudus as well from West Ham for £43 million. And they've also confirmed signing of Mathys Tel, who was actually at Tottenham for the second half of the season after a deadline day loan signing was complete. Looking at stats in the Premier League last season for Tel, he has quite good XG on target, to be fair, per 90. So he'll hopefully banging some good goals for Tottenham and will get them higher up the table than where they were last season. Looking at outgoings, of course, the major one being in Heung-min Son, who has gone to LAFC in the United States for £18 million. And Mikey Moore has also gone out on loan to Rangers as well, for probably some development, of course. Tottenham, I think that they're not going to have another season like they did last season. It will be a lot better than what last season was like. I don't think Tottenham will win another trophy this season, so they can start a new streak, I guess. A new streak going of not winning trophies, and then we can mock them in about a decade time, not winning trophies. Just joking, but, well, yeah, I don't think they're going to win any trophies next season. Although they are involved in the Super Cup against PSG, which hasn't happened at the time of me saying this. So, yeah. But, of course, they now have, of course, a new manager in Thomas Frank after the sacking of Ange Postecoglou, who did guide Tottenham to Europa League victory. But, again, they don't really want another 17th place finish, and I do understand why they have sacked Ange. But, yep, a 9th place finish for Tottenham. It'll be a lot better than last season. For 8th place, 8th place, I have predicted Manchester United. You might be able to hear a bit of elevator music in the background. I just did that for the sake of doing it. There you go, that can just stay there, really. So, Manchester United. Well, starting off, they finished 15th last season. And in fact, After their win against Leicester City on March 16th, they actually went winless in the Premier League until their final day, just to stop Aston Villa for qualifying for Champions League football. Anyways, looking at transfers. Manchester United, they have gone quite aggressive. They have signed Benjamin Sesko for 63 million from RB Leipzig, beating Leipzig to them. They signed Bryan Mbeumo for 62 million pounds from Brentford. Matheus Cunha for 61 million pounds from Wolves. In terms of players going out, Marcus Rashford has, of course, gone out on loan to Barcelona. And Christian Eriksen, as well as Johnny Evans, they've also left the club. And, yeah. So, Manchester United, I expect them to finish 8th. I think it's going to be better than last season. It's got to be, hasn't it? If it's any worse for United, it's relegation, you know. I don't think although how bad Manchester United are, I don't think they're getting relegated. And I think they will be expecting a bit of a rise. Do I think they'll qualify for Europe? No. They could probably, challenge for it, but it's not really going to be anything, dramatic, to be fair. So I'm putting Man United in 8th place. 7th place, I have put Brighton and Hove Albion, who finished 8th last season. Now, they just missed out on European football, but they have had... they've been decent, of course, over recent seasons, of course, finishing 6th in 2023, qualifying for Europe for the first time ever. Looking at their transfer business, they signed Cooper from Club Brugge for £17 million. I might have... De Cooper, I might have pronounced his name wrong. But, yeah. Of course, they've also signed Costolas from Olympiacos for 29 million as well. And they also got Tom Watson from Sunderland for 10 million, who was a part of getting Sunderland into the Premier League. Brighton under Herzler. It's been quite good for them, to be fair, especially given that they got a manager who managed in the German second tier and has had a massive jump into the Premier League. And I'm expecting around similar for Brighton this season. And to be fair, they could qualify for the Conference League. So 7th place, Brighton. In 6th place, I'm putting Newcastle United. Newcastle United finished 5th last season, scraping Champions League football on the final day, despite defeat to Everton. As for Newcastle, their window has been very interesting. Newcastle United have, missed out on many targets, while also potentially losing some players as well. Of course, they missed out on Benjamin Sesko lately. They're trying to get in Wisa from Brentford, although it is quite complex at the moment. And of course, they are under threat of losing Alexander Isak, who, according to, I think David Ornstein, Isak wishes not to play for Newcastle again. And if he is not going to leave Newcastle, then that's going to be quite damaging. And he was also banned from the club barbecue as well, where players brought also their family and, and stuff. But yeah, it's quite devastating as what's going on there with Isak, and we hope things go well, and hopefully this diplomatic breakdown will sort itself out. But Isak could potentially go to Liverpool. Liverpool already this window have bidded £110 million, and although Newcastle will not sell him until they get nearest their valuation of £150 million, and if they sign a striker. Newcastle United, though, have had quite an annoying window. To be fair, they've lost players. They tried to go for James Trafford as well. He went to Man City. A clause in Trafford's contract was he had to if Man City ever approached Trafford again, that they'd speak to City first. And it just so happens things went well. Unfortunate for Newcastle. I think Newcastle finished 6th. I do think it's going to be quite a struggle again for them this season. I think it will be a struggle for them this season because they'll be juggling Champions League football with Premier League football. Although sixth place it was better than where they went seventh at least, which they finished in 2024. But yeah, juggling Champions League and Premier League football is not easy. I think Newcastle will finish in sixth place. In fifth place, I have put down Aston Villa. Now, like Newcastle, they've also tried to defend this window. Not been as unfortunate as Newcastle, but Villa transfer business has been quiet. They've made two signings, including Ivan Gazand, 25 million from OGC Nice. And they also signed Bizot from Stade Brest, who's a goalkeeper. Only 2.9 million, and I'm not really expecting Emi Martinez to be kicked out, really, of number one position. Of course, Unai Emery has led Villa to, great places, of course. And, of course, Aston Villa made it to the quarter-finals of last year's Champions League, losing out to eventual winners PSG. Aston Villa, I think they'll do all right this window, and I think they will qualify for Champions League again. Fifth place is almost guaranteed Champions League football nowadays, but I think Villa will finish fifth. In fourth place, and yeah, we are getting to some of the big guns now. In fourth place, I have put down Club World Champions Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, coming out of the United States, winning the FIFA Club World Cup, beating PSG in the final. They opened their game against Crystal Palace in the Premier League, who, of course, have quite a lot of momentum on their side. And Chelsea, they had a massive rise from recent seasons, and it seems like the Tenzo Maresca has overperformed, and I think we are expecting Chelsea to probably perform well again. They signed Hato from Ajax for 36 million. They've, of course, signed Jamie Gittins from Borussia Dortmund for £53 million. And they signed Joao Pedro for £53 million from Brighton. Brighton may as well become Chelsea's B team, to be fair. The amount of players that Chelsea just got from there, and staff as well, like Graham Potter, Chelsea, I do think they will do quite well this season, and it will be Champions League football they qualify for again. And I do think they will finish fourth. Of course, they have new signings in Liam Delap, and and Gittins, of course. So yeah, I think they'll finish fourth. And to be fair, I mean, they could. For all they could actually challenge for the Premier League title. In third place, I have put Manchester City. Manchester City have had a really, really bad season. Well, we had a really bad season to our standards, last season. Going almost trophyless. I count the Community Shield, so not quite trophyless, to be fair. But losing to Al Hilal in the round of 16 of the Club World Cup, it's certainly not something you kind of want to have written down in history. But Manchester City have made a few signings, a lot of the major ones before the Club World Cup, including Ryan Aït-Nouri from Wolves for 31 million, Ryan Cherki, who has really good stats in Liga 1 last season, £30 million, and Tijani Reinders for £42 million plus add-ons. And we also got Trafford back as well from Burnley. So yeah, in terms of outgoings, we have lost Grealish, who has gone out on loan. Victor Heish, who we signed in January, has gone out on loan to sister club Girona. And of course, Kyle Walker has gone to Burnley. Scott Carson has also left us. What a legend he is. Treble winner, 4-time in a row Premier League champion. And to think that he's done that all without lifting a finger. How incredible is that? And of course, we cannot forget about Kevin De Bruyne, who has been at Manchester City since 2015. He has now left Manchester City and has signed for Napoli. But what a City legend he is, who has won the treble and has also done the 4 in a row as well, which of course no team in English football has ever done. Anyways, but I think like the 23-24 season, it is going to be a close race, and again, probably another three-way battle between Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City. And Chelsea may also have a strong start to the season as well. But yeah, I'm saying City will finish third, and this is also potentially Pep Guardiola's last season as well. His contract expires next summer. We were most likely going to get Ruben Amorim, but of course he's not United. So it'll be interesting to see who replaces Pep. Probably De Zerbi. Just saying. Second place, I think, in the Premier League. Second place. Well, we're in the top two, so I guess I've got to reveal my Premier League champion. And my Premier League champions for the 2025-2026 Premier League season is Arne Slot's Liverpool. Slot's has seen his side make massive investments, of course. They brought in Florian Wirtz for a British record £116 million. And I think that, I think that is subject to add-ons, I think, as well. They also signed Hugo Ekitike, they signed Milos Kerkez, they've signed Jeremy Frimpong as well. And, of course, they are targeting Alexander Isak. They have a lot of headspace right now, to be fair. Oh, and Ekitike was also one that Newcastle missed out on as well. I have a feeling that this is also going to be Mo Salah's final season at Liverpool. In fact, I think it'll probably be next season where Salah has his farewell season. To be fair, his contract after his contract extension, Salah's contract expires next year. I'm hearing a lot of things about Liverpool needing a new centre-back because Van Dijk is seems to be a bit sluggish as well. Of course, there has been a major tragedy lately after the loss of Diogo Jota, and it is sad to see a human tragedy, someone to die aged 28, and we do wish the best for friends and family of Diogo Jota. And yeah, it'll be like it'll be a big miss for the Liverpool players, to be fair. Darwin Nunez has gone out on loan to Al Hilal. Sorry, not on loan. He's gone permanently. £44 million. Darwin Nunez has signed for Al Hilal. He signed them for lately. Luis Diaz has gone as well to Bayern Munich for £59 million as well. So yeah, they are making big investments as well. And also Joel Kwanzaa has gone to Leverkusen for £29 million. They have also lost Kelleher, their backup goalkeeper, to Brentford for £17 million. And of course Trent Alexander-Arnold for £8.3 million. He has gone to Real Madrid. I do think Liverpool will win the title, and also in honour of Diogo Jota as well, in which they'll do it as a tribute towards him. Yeah, I think Liverpool will win the Premier League, but of course we need to talk about Arsenal. I predict that they will finish second place for a fourth year in a row. Second place merchants at this point, Arsenal. They are also investing quite a bit. Of course, they signed Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Club de Portugal for £53 million. They also signed Noni Madueke from Chelsea, building up that depth. Christian Norgard has also gone to Arsenal from Brentford. £10 million that was. Martin Zubamendi, £50 million from Real Sociedad. And for some reason, Arsenal like to sign Chelsea rejects. They've got Kepa Arrizabalaga. Once upon a time, was the world's most expensive goalkeeper. Now has gone to Arsenal for £4.2 million. I think, and also as well when it comes to outgoings, not really anything drastic. They have lost, however, Kieran Tierney to Celtic, and Thomas Partey and Tomiyasu have also gone out, I think, after their contract was expired. And Jorginho has also gone. I think he's gone to Flamenco on a free transfer. Yeah. Arsenal, second place again. And, yeah. That's my full Premier League predictions. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, if you like. I'm quite interested to see. Also, make some predictions as well for the upcoming season, so that we can absolutely slaughter you in May. Bye.